Hi, I want to welcome you back to the Daily Uplift Official, where you have encouragement that you can count on. Today, I want to talk about the truth about forgiving too many times. The truth about forgiving too many times. And if you would subscribe, like, and share the video, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when a new video drops. Again, the truth about forgiving too many times. How many times have you forgiven someone only for them to hurt you again? How many times did you call it grace when really it was self-betrayal? See, forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness can heal hurts. Forgiveness can free your soul from bitterness. But no one talks enough about what happens when forgiveness becomes permission. Nobody talks about the emotional damage that comes from forgiving people who never change, never grow, they never apologize, and never stop hurting you. Because there's a difference between being loved and allowing yourself to be destroyed. And today we're going to talk about the truth about forgiving too many times. Not from a place of hate, not from bitterness, but from wisdom. Because some of you have confused loyalty with suffering, and it's costing you your peace. So if you've ever struggled with setting boundaries, walking away, or feeling guilty for finally choosing yourself, guess what? This video's for you. There are people watching this right now who are emotionally exhausted, not because life is hard, but because they keep giving unlimited access to people who keep causing damage. I want to say that one more time. There are people watching right now who are emotionally exhausted, not because life is hard, but because they keep giving unlimited access to people who keep causing damage. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like and share the video, please. And the scary part is you don't even realize how much pain you've normalized. You got so used to forgiving disrespect, forgiving neglect, forgiving manipulation, forgiving lies, forgiving broken promises that eventually your standards disappeared. And now you're sitting there wondering why you feel empty. It's because forgiveness without boundaries will drain you. Let me say that one more time. Forgiving without boundaries will drain you. You can forgive someone and still decide they no longer deserve access to you. A lot of people were taught that forgiveness means staying, that forgiveness means tolerating anything, that forgiveness means endless sacrificing yourself to prove that you're a good person. But forgiveness was never meant to make you a prisoner. Real forgiveness releases bitterness. It does not require you to keep volunteering for pain. The misunderstanding about forgiveness. One of the biggest lies people believe is this: if I forgive them enough, eventually they'll change. And sometimes they do, but many times they don't, because some people only apologize to keep access to you. Some people say sorry because they fear consequences, not because they've truly changed. And when someone knows that they hurt you repeatedly without losing you, they stop respecting your boundaries. That's not love. That's access without accountability. And some of you have spent years carrying relationships that God was trying to remove from your life. Friendships, relationships, family dynamics, situationships, people who only return when they need something or want something. You keep reopening doors that should have stayed closed, not because you're weak, but because you were helpful. And helpful people often stay too long. You saw potential. You remember the good moments. You believed the version of them that promised they would become. Meanwhile, the reality kept breaking your heart. You cannot heal in an environment where the damage keeps repeating. At some point, forgiveness has to be paired with wisdom. When forgiveness becomes self abandonment, this is the part nobody likes talking about. Some people forgive too many times because self abandonment. You stop protecting yourself. You stop listening to your intuition. You stop honoring your emotional limits. And eventually you start betraying yourself to keep other people comfortable. You're answering calls you don't want to answer. You tolerate disrespect you should have addressed. You keep reopening wounds that were finally beginning to heal. Why? Because you're afraid of being seen as mean, cold, unforgiving, difficult. But hear me clearly. Protecting your peace does not make you selfish. Choosing distance does not make you hateful. And walking away does not mean you failed to forgive. Sometimes distance is the healthiest form of forgiveness because healing cannot happen while chaos still has access to you. Do you know what repeated betrayal does to a person? It changes how they see themselves. Eventually, you stop asking, why are they hurting me? And you start asking, what's wrong with me? That's what constant emotional pain does. It attacks your confidence. It makes you question your worth. And when you forgive too many times without boundaries, you slowly teach yourself that your pain is acceptable, that your feelings don't matter, and that your exhaustion should be ignored. And some of you have become emotionally numb because your heart got tired of recovering from the same pain over and over again. You're tired, not physically, soul tired, tired of hoping, tired of rebuilding, tired of giving chances, tired of pretending things don't hurt. Now, maybe this video is the confirmation you needed. You've allowed, you are allowed to stop carrying relationships that only bring confusion and pain. Jesus forgave, but he also set boundaries. A lot of people use faith to pressure others into tolerating abuse, but even Jesus had boundaries. Think about that. Jesus loved people deeply. He forgave endlessly, but he also walked away from certain places. He also corrected people. He also separated himself when necessary. Forgiveness does not cancel wisdom. You can pray for someone and still recognize that they are unhealthy for your life. You can wish someone healing and still refuse to let them keep breaking you. God did not create you to be emotionally destroyed in the name of loyalty. Some of you are trying hard to save people that you forgot to save yourself. Why people stay too long? People stay too long for many reasons: fear of loneliness, fear of starting over, fear of guilt, fear that maybe nobody else will love them. But sometimes the reason you can't receive healthy love is because unhealthy love still occupies space in your life, and letting go hurts. especially when you love deeply, especially when you invested years, especially when you saw a future with them. But pain alone is not proof that you should stay. Read that again in your spirit. Pain alone is not proof that you should stay. Sometimes the hardest thing the hardest thing is to accept this. Love is not always enough to sustain a relationship because relationships also require respect, consistency, truth, effort, and accountability. And if these things are missing, forgiveness alone can't carry weight forever. This right here changes lives. You can forgive someone without reconnecting. You can forgive someone without reopening the door. You can forgive someone without giving them another opportunity to hurt you. Forgiveness is eternal. Reconciliation is mutual, and mutual requires change. Too many people are reconnected with people who never truly changed, only because they feel guilty saying no. But every time you ignore your boundaries, your peace pays the price. Your mental health pays the price. Your confidence pays the price. Your healing pays the price. And eventually, your identity disappears beneath everybody else's demands. Some of you feel guilty for finally choosing yourself. But let me remind you of something. You gave chances. You tried communicating. You prayed. You stayed longer than most people would have. You did your part. And at some point, choosing peace becomes necessary. Not revenge, not bitterness, peace. There is nothing wrong with deciding, I love you, but I cannot keep destroying myself to keep this relationship alive. This is maturity. That is growth. And honestly, some people only learn consequences when access disappears. I know letting go is hard. I know walking away hurts. I know part of you still hopes things could be different, but you cannot keep sacrificing your emotional health trying to save relationships that only serve when you abandon yourself. Forgiveness should free you, not imprison you. And maybe today is the day you finally stop confusing suffering with love. Maybe today is the day you stop apologizing for having boundaries. Maybe today is the day you finally believe that your peace matters too, because it does. You deserve relationships where respect is mutual, where love feels safe, where communication is honest, where effort is consistent. And if somebody only values you when they're afraid of losing you, that's not healthy love. If this message spoke to you, I want you to remember this. You can forgive people without giving them unlimited access to your life. Protect your peace, protect your heart, protect the version of you, protect the version of you that tries to heal. And never feel guilty for choosing what finally brings you peace. If this video encouraged you, share it with someone who needs this message today. And remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is finally stop allowing people to hurt you repeatedly. Thanks again for joining us at the Daily Uplift Official, and I'll see you in the next video.